say that, it sounds like he's the kind of defender who can actually defend, as opposed to a lot of the modern right and left backs who are very good going forward and aren't so keen on doing the defensive side of things.
Well, this man is brilliant on the ball, but when it comes to the real crunch time in the game, he is really getting stuck in. And I think that's where, the South American attitude comes in, and the streetwise street attitude. I don't think he's friends with most of the Dutch referees. And if he goes to the Premier League, I don't think he will be there either, because that is the spirit I think you sometimes need in a team. Yeah, there's so many great players in England and in the top teams, but you also need that real attitude.
And from a left back to a right back, because both Barcelona and Bayern Munich are apparently after the same one.
Well, it's amazing. Ajax have the wealth of having two great right backs. Mazraoui, the Moroccan international right back, who's been in the Champions League, a phenomenal force for them. And at the same time, they have the luxury of Serginho Dest, who's an American international. Ronald Koeman wanted him in the Dutch national team because he says he's so good. I want him to play for Holland, but he chose America. And what we see now is that not only Bayern Munich, who have been on his tail for weeks or months, but also Barcelona are very keen to do a deal. Both clubs are in touch. Bayern Munich have been in Amsterdam. Barcelona joined them last night with a concrete firm offer of around 20 million. And I can see Serginho Dest going within the next 48 hours. But where? It's still a miracle. Bayern and Barcelona both fighting over him.
Yeah, wow, either way, he's going to a massive club, isn't he? And someone we've talked about every week is Gini Wijnaldum. He hasn't left yet. He hasn't signed a new contract yet. What's happening with him now?
Well, I understand that the talk he's had with Jurgen Klopp has been really good. And Klopp has made it clear to him that there will be lots of playing time for him. If he does not leave now for a big transfer fee to, let's say, Barcelona, who cannot afford to buy him yet because they're being stopped by La Liga, as we mentioned earlier, I think Wijnaldum is happy to stay there because he feels he's part of the nucleus of the team. And I think the arrival of Thiago has not made him worried at all. He played last weekend. He knows that he's always in the plans of Klopp, and I think they are taking a risk of having to let him go for free, but they will get the...
Of sorts, but in the managerial sense, what's going on with Frank de Boer?
Well, I think there'll be a few Crystal Palace fans raising their eyebrows today. He's been announced as the new Holland manager. Well, which manager, I actually wonder, gets that job when he's been sacked at Crystal Palace, when he's been sacked at Atlanta, when he's been sacked at Inter Milan? It's not the greatest record. No, it's not. But in the Netherlands, Frank Rijkaard has been brilliant. He's made Ajax champions 4 times in the Dutch Eredivisie. His football's always been very attacking. There's not really anything you can say wrong about him, what he's done in this country, except for when he goes abroad, it goes wrong. And sometimes you have managers who are maybe more suited in their own country than to fit into different foreign styles. And I think he's one of those who will probably never go abroad again and just work in Holland.
Great stuff from Marcel van der Kraan. But now you've been asking for it, so we've brought it back. It's our Forgotten Men feature. We've each chosen a player who, even if you support the club they play for, you may have forgotten about them, whether that be because of injuries, loans away from the club, or just frozen out. Right, which one of you went for Adrian Silva?
That would be me, Tom. Mr. 14 Seconds, I like to call him. Careful. Remember the summer of 2017, 3 years ago now, can you believe that? Leicester lodged the papers with the FA, who then forwarded the paperwork to FIFA for the transfer of Silva from Sporting Lisbon 14 seconds after the deadline had passed. We had some amazing pictures on Sky Sports News of the player liaison officer at Leicester running across the car park with the paperwork to try and get this deal sorted out in time. Leicester's appeal for that transfer failed. They were unable to register him until the January of 2018. And it meant he spent the next few months really between the summer to January in limbo. And I think limbo is probably the right word to describe his Leicester career really, because it's never really got back on track since then. He went on loan to Monaco in January 2019, and then despite the change of manager at Leicester last summer, he was loaned back out again to Monaco, and then this summer, Brendan Rodgers has said that his future lies away from Leicester. You know when you go onto the search engine and it auto-fills the rest of your sentence, it comes up with Adrien Silva, 14 seconds. Time to move on, Adrien.
Right, well, I know who I've gone for, which means that, Anton, it must be you who's gone for Ryan Bennett.
Can't believe you said Mr. 14 seconds told me to be careful. Unbelievable. Yeah, I've gone for Ryan Bennett. Lasted a lot longer than 14 seconds. He's been around the Premier League for a long, long time. 111 games. And it surprises me there hasn't really been lots of reports about clubs being interested for Ryan Bennett, because a lot of clubs need a solid sort of experienced centre-back. Clubs don't like taking a risk in a centre-back. And you've got a player at Wolves who is on the fringe. He's training with the first-team squad, but clearly isn't going to play much under Nuno Espirito Santo. So, yeah, he's 30 years old. He's only got 1 year left on his contract, so a deal may be fairly easy to be done. So, yeah, I'm kind of surprised Ryan Bennett hasn't got a move yet, but he's definitely available.
Yeah, keep yours coming in, by the way. We'll read a few out if we can. Hashtag transfer talk. Mine is Jacob Murphy. That's because I'd actually completely forgotten about him until last night. He played the full 90 minutes for Newcastle. He scored. It was a 7-0 victory at Morecambe in the EFL Cup. It was Rafael Benitez who signed him from Norwich 3 years ago. Boyhood fan of the club because his parents are from Gateshead. The fee could eventually rise to £14 million. It was a big outlay from Benitez. Newcastle weren't spending as much money back then, so that was a lot of money then. But after 18 months, he was sent out on loan to West Brom. 6 months later, he went on loan to Sheffield Wednesday. A good spell, actually, for the whole of last season. So Sheffield Wednesday fans certainly haven't forgotten him. He hasn't featured in the league yet, so another loan is possible. But he's certainly impressed last night. He's trying to force his way into Steve Bruce's thinking, and he is going the right way about it. So Adrien Silva, Ryan Bennett, Jacob Murphy, if you've got any, hashtag transfer talk, let us know, and we'll try and read some out before we finish at 2 p.m. Right, a line from Manchester City now. It's regarding to a story that, well, it was reported in Spain, actually, about a bid for Jose Jimenez. Manchester City have denied making a £78 million bid for Jose Jimenez after claims from the Atletico Madrid president that he'd rejected an offer for the central defender. Can you just read out these quotes, Anton, from him?
So Enrique Cruzeiro, who's their president, as you said, told a Spanish radio station yesterday, "We did receive an offer for Jimenez, and he's a magnificent player, but we are interested in having magnificent players in the team." Now, this interesting thing is here, City are pretty surprised about this, to be brutally honest. One club source telling us there's no truth to the claims that a bid has been made, and that City pretty much won't pay anything near that amount, £78 million, for a centre-back. Now, look, it's no secret that Manchester City want a centre-back before the transfer window closes, and we've been reported that Jimenez is one of the players that they're looking at alongside, Kalidou Koulibaly, Jules Koundé from Sevilla. But any move from Jimenez has been complicated this week because he tested positive for COVID-19 and he's currently self-isolating.
Why do Manchester City need a centre-back? Do they need a centre-back?
Well, yeah, I mean, they've been looking, haven't they? Anton gave us some of the targets that Manchester City have been looking at. But I think Manchester City would be quite comfortable with their situation at the moment at the back. John Stones started the game against Wolves, didn't he? And a lot of the Manchester City fans were quite pleased with how he did. If he's able to get back to the sort of form that means he's going to get picked every week by Pep Guardiola, that perhaps negates the need for them to bring in another centre-back. They've brought in Nathan Ake already as kind of cover, really, for Aymeric Laporte. And if they've still got Eric Garcia at the moment, although his future may well be up in the air with his contract coming to an end. We know that Barcelona have been looking at him as well. But if John Stones is able to stay fit and stay in form, perhaps it might mean that City search for a centre-back. They'd be pretty comfortable with the situation they've got at the minute. Yeah, young Harwood Bellis as well. Right, still to come, we check in with Newcastle and Leicester City. Will they add a game before deadline day? And more on that news that Arsenal are interested in Chelsea's Jorginho.
People don't have the time to be able to take a moment, just a moment.